I came on here some weeks ago and I said, man, Jalen Hurts, man, he passed that Prescott. Then I had to think about it. That was like, hold up, y'all. I gotta see it more than 1 year. All right. Now, I remember when Lamar Jackson uh went to the playoffs, but he didn't really play awesome. It was like a wins guy, right? And then the very next year, he won MVP. Boom, won MVP. And then that's when I was like, all right, he's up there now. Lamar's up there, MVP. You know, made it play all 2 years in a row. You look at Jalen Hurts, right? He went to the playoffs last year. We forget about that part. He
Mm-hmm.
led the Eagles to the playoffs last year
Mm-hmm.
as a wild card when nobody thought they'll be a good team.
Yep.
All right. So they had low expectations last year. People had them being on the bottom of the NFC East, and then he led them to the playoffs. Pretty good. Got bounced in the first round. Cool. This year he has a MVP type season, and he gets hurt. They lose both of the games he got hurt in, and then he kind of fell off the race basically. And Mahomes had a ridiculous season, and he won MVP. Hurst didn't win MVP, but he did lead his team to the Super Bowl. Granted, they play the Giants, they play the 49ers with no quarterbacks. People say, I'm with that. He gets to the Super Bowl, and he had this type of performance. I can't ignore that. I'm sorry, I cannot ignore that. All right, I cannot ignore that. Justin Herbert has never done that. Dak Prescott has never done that. Right? So these are the people I'll put in front of Jalen Hurts: Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and that's it. I'm sorry. That's it, man. I call spade a spade. All right. I'm all about updating your resume. Now, if he comes back next year and he flops, which I highly doubt, I understand he has a perfect O line. He has a great things around him, but he executed with the things he had. There are other quarterbacks that have great situations that don't execute. All right. So Jalen Hurts literally in that Super Bowl put the team in his back. So I'm going to give him props. He will go into next season on my list, fifth best quarterback in the NFL.
Dave, you want to go? You want me to go? Because you already
I'll,
know.
I'll go. I'm gonna let you go last. I know where you about to go next.
Okay.
So, Joe,
Yeah.
we agree on the list, the same exact list. That's the same exact list I have. So, like you said, Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Jalen Hurts. I agree, and that's exactly what I did today. I thought about last year and this year. I said, well, it's 2 years he's been starting. He got to the playoffs last year. Yeah, they got thrashed last year, but he was the only reason why they were actually in the game when they were in the game against the Bucks last year. It was because of him. And this year, yeah, I get it. He played against the Giants, but you only play what's in front of you, especially in the playoffs. You don't choose who you play. You play who's in front of you. It's not our fault that the Vikings were frauds and they couldn't beat the Giants. No, it's not their fault that couldn't happen. So he played well. And yesterday he threw for 300 yards. He threw a touchdown and ran for three. So, I mean, that was a performance that was win worthy. If it wasn't for the fumble, who knows what would have happened? They probably would have won that game if not for that fumble. And
Mm-mm.
other
Correct.
quarterbacks, other quarterbacks haven't really, like you said, haven't done what was done. Dak Prescott, Jimmy G, of course. Um, Even Lamar Jackson hasn't gotten that far, but Lamar Jackson also hasn't had those kind of weapons. So that's what happens when it came to him. Justin Herbert, um, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl back in 2011. Hasn't been back there since. So him too. And you can name any other quarterback. He's gone. He's gotten a lot further in 2 years than most quarterbacks have gotten in their career. So I don't see how anyone else will put anyone over top of him in the top five. But that's my list.
All right. What about Tombo? I'm ready.
Okay, so let me ask you a question, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask both of you guys a question. Are we talking about like just Overall career, or we talking about what we seen out of this player?
I mean,
I'm asking because I'm about to shock the
it's a
world.
weird question, all
It
right?
is okay.
Because we can't just go off 1 year. You can't do that.
So we're
But
going off last two.
you got to go off. It's hard to explain. Like why am I putting why are we putting like somebody like I don't know
Let's go
Josh
Justin Herbert.
Allen, huh?
Let's go
You said
Justin
what?
Herbert. Why would we put Justin Herbert over him?
Why we put Justin Herbert over like a Russell Wilson? Russell Wilson career is better, but
Yep.
right now
That's what I'm
Russell
saying. So
Wilson
we
is
doing
not
what have
better
you?
than
That's
Justin
why
Herbert.
I'm asking. That's what we basing it on, right? I just want them to know.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Yes and no. Like I understand. Because if that's what we doing,
Because
right?
that go ahead.
No, no,
It's
no,
hard. It's hard to explain.
it
I think
is.
it's
It's
like an
one of those things
unwritten
that's.
thing. It's like an
I got you.
unwritten thing. You feel
I
me?
just,
Go ahead.
I just want to make sure I knew the unwritten rule before I say what I got to say. Because if that's the case, then he needs to be above Josh Allen
But why though?
because of what you just said. This is something we've never seen before. He took this team to a Super Bowl in his second year, something Josh Allen has never done.
It's not about just taking your team to the Super Bowl
That's why I asked what's the levels.
because it's not just about that.
That's why
Because
it's a weird five. Because if that's the case, then you need to wait till next year to say he's top five.
but why though?
Why is he five now?
Who you put above him?
Right now?
Mm-hmm.
If we go on right now,
Outside
the
of
three
people
you
me and
named,
David gave you.
the three you named,
No,
Mahomes,
outside of people
Burrow,
me and Dave gave you. Who else would you put in front of him?
oh, Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar Jackson. I can't say Herbert because he's not there yet.
Never
We
made
can't.
a playoff. I mean, he made a playoff bounce in the first
That
round.
year, this year is an anomaly.
See,
Uh,
like for example, this is why I put him in front of Dak. We seen Dak with a team.
so that's why I'm asking because to me, if we going off of that, then he needs to be three.
Who?
Hurts.
No. So look, no. Jalen Hurts has a squad. Boom. He had a squad. He took full advantage of it. Right? Because I wasn't gonna put him top five, but how he performed in the Super Bowl, he took advantage of the opportunity. And I'm putting him in front of people who never made it to the playoffs, who got bounced in the first round, or people who had similar situations as him but didn't capitalize. Which is Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott got bounced in the
Okay, so we're
first
not talking
round.
about Dak then. We're not
But
talking
no,
about
no,
that.
no,
Then.
no, no.
We
This is an
go.
example because you brought Josh Allen. Dak had a great team and got bounced in the first round. Josh Allen never left. Sorry, Josh Allen never got bounced in the first round. This is Jalen Hurts' first time getting out the first. We got made the pro last year, got out the first round, and then made it to Super Bowl and played great. If he didn't play as great as he did, he wouldn't have been in the top five quarterback to me.
But you also another thing you noted in what you just said there, Joe, is a similar situation and didn't take their team somewhere. Him and Josh Allen are in similar situations where they got him weapons and their defense were good, and he got his team to the Super Bowl. Josh
Mm-hmm.
Allen hasn't.
Okay, I give you coming from there. The reason why I don't put him for the Josh Allen has gotten out the first round multiple times. He's not a one-hit wonder, right? So
Okay.
that's why Lamar Jackson, he MVP though, he MVP. But Lamar Jackson hasn't got the Super Bowl. But even if
So
Lamar didn't win MVP, I would still have him a budget Hurts right now, because of the quarterbacking years, and he's got out the first round. But he's been hurt though. But anybody else now, anybody else, I can't put him in front of. Like Russell Wilson don't have recent success.
I agree with that. I'm that's why I'm like, if we sticking with this five, because I agree with what y'all saying, because I had to sit back after that game. He would have been the reason they won that Super Bowl. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, man, we got to do some rearranging here. We got to move some furniture around, and I can't defend my man today, even though he was the only one that left that field with a trophy in the NFC East. But we're not gonna talk about that. But if you think about it, like I had to, like Joe, I really sat back and thought about it. I was like, you might have to put Hurts in the top four, and him being four because of what just happened here. I included that playoff run because last year I remember the Eagles not being good, and I remember them making that run and then getting in that playoff game. I watched that playoff game against him in Tampa Bay. He almost won that game, but he was hurt. So it was him being hurt and also them not having the adequate weapons around him. Also, it wasn't a belief system there. Like they didn't really believe in him that much last year, and they were like, okay, That's why they took this off season and built everything around and said, we're gonna pay this guy. We need to see if he's the guy. And that's what he did. If you really want to compare the two, they did the same thing in Buffalo. I hate the fact that I'd be arguing against Josh Allen a lot because now it seems like I'm just bashing Josh Allen. But if you think about it, they did the same thing with him. They went and got Stephon Diggs. They built the defense. The only thing they don't do in Buffalo is run the ball. Like, that's the only thing. They should run it, but they don't run it. If you putting it on that scale, Mahomes, Burrow, who was the other guy?
Lamar Jackson.
I give it to Lamar because of the MVP. And you got to give it to Hurts. And Hurts is working his way up to 3 if we don't figure out what's going on with Lamar.
So how can you put Lamar above Josh Allen with Lamar MVP happened 3 years ago, and Lamar hasn't done not much like since then?
How can I do what? Rephrase.
He hasn't done more than Josh Allen.
Say the question again.
He won an MVP 3 years ago. That was 3 years ago. Ever since he won an MVP, he hasn't played better than Josh Allen.
They also haven't given him anything to work with.
Yeah. Okay.
You gotta include that, Joe. Because if we making the game fair, if you include that, I believe if you put Lamar Jackson in this Eagle system, they going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I believe that.
I believe that. That's so.
Lamar's above Jalen Hurts to me. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So my 3. So it would be Mahomes, Burrow, Jackson, Hurts. Then I put Josh there.
All right. I got Josh above Hurts right now.
Hey, look who defending Hurts. Come on now.
Mm-hmm.
This is gonna be good because this is good.
This more than they got Josh Allen.
You make a good point though. You make a good point. I see where you're going with that because Josh Allen has been in the playoffs, and yes, he's gotten past the first round, but he hasn't gotten this far.
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying. See, like I'm not rewarding him. Josh Allen is in like in a weird place. Right, he's the only guy in the league that's in his position. Like he's never lost in the first round for real, but yeah, he never got out the second round. You know what I mean? Like normally people are getting bounced in the first round, or they had that one run. You know what I mean? So, and that's what Jalen Hurts had a one run. Everybody else got bounced in the first round. You know, except for Joe Burrow, who's ahead of Josh Allen.
But I don't think Dak got bounced in the first round.
But
he did.
See, Dak, no. So here's the thing about Dak to me. All right?
No, I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not saying he's in this conversation, but because to me, like the level of play that just happened in this playoffs, like
you're right though.
I have nothing to say about Dak. But if we putting up resumes, he's never been bounced in the first round either.
You have a good point. You have a good point because Josh Allen didn't play so great this year, so I won't be mad at that. And you can make an argument that Dak was better than Josh Allen because even in the playoffs, he played better than Josh Allen. You know, because he played good against Tampa Bay, and he played. He didn't play good
he had a LeBron moment.
But Josh Allen didn't play good against the Bengals either, though. So, yeah.
I want to address this one though. Watson hasn't done anything since he hasn't played other than this year. And when he played, he only got to the playoffs one or two times. And does he have a playoff win?
Yeah, he does. He has a playoff one.
He has one playoff win, but he hasn't done anything to prove that he's still top 5 right now. He looked very rusty last year, so we can't put him in that conversation right now. If he plays well next year, all right. But right now, he's not in that conversation.
So, yeah, I think what we got to do I know we about to move on, but I know what we got to do when we have this debate within the refuse to lose community, I think we need to be like, are we talking sole player or are we talking about their resume? Because if we going off resume, Watson shouldn't even be brought up. Just resume. Yeah, because he hasn't played in a while. Like, we got to still see if he can do it.
Watson should be brought up, period.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of that reason you just said. But I'm going to move on. But he said, we talking about quarterbacking. Just because when we judge quarterback, we're not just talking about your arm. We're talking about your results. What do you do to contribute to winning? That's all I care about. Because Lamar Jackson ain't got the best arm. He got better arm than Justin Herbert and them dudes. But yet, his production on the field is more than them guys. So that's what I go off of. All right, so. Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, And also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all at the next episode.